With 24/7 creative pressures, punishingly tight deadlines, and the stress of long-distance travel, working on a movie can be a tough time for everyone involved. As a result, tempers can get a little flared. It's something we can all relate to, in a way, because when there's a group of people, there's normally some sort of friction. Work, school, family life, we've all been there, and while these environments are hardly comparable to a bustling film set, things can get ugly when people are forced to coexist for extended periods of time. Fortunately, these actors later apologized for their poor on-set conduct, eating a load of humble pie and acknowledging that they really could have been a bit nicer to the cast and crew, sometimes even years after the incident in question. Better late than never, I guess. With that in mind, I'm Will for What Culture, and here are 10 actors who apologized for their behavior in major movies. 10. Pierce Brosnan, Tomorrow Never Dies. Even though they were on-screen lovers, Pierce Brosnan and Terry Hatcher did not get along too well behind the camera when filming 1997's Tomorrow Never Dies. The two actors would constantly argue and bicker, so it's actually really impressive that they managed to get their romance to look so convincing. In the past, Brosnan had said that he got very upset with her because she kept him waiting for hours, because she would frequently turn up late and delay the start of shooting. Naturally, this frustrated Brosnan, and he made his feelings known, but later on, the truth of the situation became clear. Hatcher's reason for being late was that she was suffering from morning sickness due to being pregnant. Because of this, Brosnan later apologized, stating that he let slip a few words which weren't very nice. 9. Tom Hardy, Mad Max Fury Road. To be completely fair to Tom Hardy, the filming of Mad Max Fury Road cannot have been an easy gig. Shooting in the desert for months on end, with scorching heat and tons of intensive stunt work, it was a tough period for everybody, and it's no surprise that tensions started to flare up. Hardy grew particularly frustrated with director George Miller because he couldn't really understand the filmmaker's vision. Hardy later apologized for his lack of faith on set at a press conference, admitting that what Miller eventually created was simply brilliant. 8. Casey Affleck, I'm Still Here. Casey Affleck's directorial debut, I'm Still Here, will be remembered for its bizarre plot in which Joaquin Phoenix, as himself, tries to pursue a career in rap music. However, the movie is also notorious for its on-set controversy, forcing Affleck, who also starred, to apologize after being accused of sexual assault by two female crew members. In June of 2010, the pair sued Affleck for millions of dollars each, citing uninvited and unwelcome sexual advances and intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other things. Affleck subsequently denied the allegations and the lawsuits were settled out of court, but when the incident resurfaced amidst the Me Too controversy a few years ago, the actor chose to give a public apology, saying, "I behaved in a way and I allowed others to behave in a way that was really unprofessional, and I'm sorry." 7. Charlie Chaplin, a Countess from Hong Kong. 1967's A Countess from Hong Kong marks the final screen appearance for legendary comic actor Charlie Chaplin, but unfortunately for him, it was far from a smooth ride to get the film made. More specifically, Chaplin, who also directed, constantly clashed with his leading man, Marlon Brando. In his autobiography, Brando called Chaplin sadistic and described a time when he showed up late to set, only for the director to berate him in front of the whole cast. Brando was understandably deeply embarrassed and demanded an apology from Chaplin, and Chaplin ultimately and graciously obliged. 6. James Franco, Annapolis. James Franco and Tyrese Gibson sound like the least compatible actor pairing you could imagine, and inevitably, their two big egos clashed during the filming of the 2006 naval drama Annapolis. The two fell out big time when they were working together, and while it isn't clear exactly what happened, the bust-up was big enough that it prompted Gibson to state that he would never work with Franco again, and that Franco felt the same way. But ultimately, it was Franco who was the one who apologized, covering up the beef by saying that he was too into his role, and that he blames his acting methods for his severed relationship with Gibson. 5. Marlon Brando, Mutiny on the Bounty. By many accounts, Marlon Brando, while a genius actor, was not an easy individual to work with, and one of his most ridiculous bits of behavior occurred on the set of the 1962 historical drama Mutiny on the Bounty. The The biggest problem that Brando brought to the production was that he chose to improvise many of his lines, which made it difficult for other actors to pick up on their cues. He also took the baffling step of performing with cotton wool shoved in his ears, which hugely annoyed his co-stars. The actor was also frequently late to sets, which did not help matters. In the end though, Brando wrote a lengthy letter to Trevor Howard apologizing for his bad habits during the shoot, and the two would actually work together again in the future. 4. BIJOU PHILLIPS, Bully. Life imitated art on the set of the early noughties crime flick Bully, with actor Daniel Franzese subjected to numerous incidents of harassment and name-calling at the hands of his co-star BIJOU PHILLIPS. In a 2017 Facebook post, Franzese, who famously played Damien in Mean Girls, revealed that Phillips body-shamed and ridiculed him about his sexuality, mocking him for being bisexual in front of the cast and crew. Living with this horrific ordeal for over 15 years, Franzese found the courage to come forward after reading the story of how Ellen Page was harassed on the set of X-Men: The Last Stand, and while nothing could possibly make up for what happened to him, Phillips at least had the good decency to apologize when she saw his post. Upon seeing this, Franzese tweeted that he accepted her apology, while also requesting that she make a donation to the Trevor Project, a suicide prevention organization for LGBTQ youngsters. 3. Arnold Schwarzenegger, various movies. Back when Arnie was campaigning to become the governor of California, he didn't have the smoothest rides to get there. In the final weeks before the election, several women came forward and accused the Austrian oak of unwanted fondling on the sets of his movies, ranging from 1975 to the year 2000. Schwarzenegger's camp quickly denied these claims, arguing that, considering their proximity to the election, they were a shrewdly timed political attack. However, the actor did still apologize, stating that he'd been rowdy on film sets, and describing his past behavior as playful. 2. Jason Statham, Wildcard. Jason Statham is known to have a foul mouth, and that's part of the charm of his performances. But when the cameras are turned off, it's probably best if you don't drop a bunch of F-bombs in front of your filmmaking collaborators. According to The Blast, someone who worked on the film claimed that they possessed a recording of Statham arguing with producer Steve Chasman. Statham supposedly used vulgar and homophobic language multiple times. The claim was never proven true, but the actor chose to apologize regardless, saying, "If I said these words, it was deeply wrong, and I deeply apologize. Anyone who knows me knows it doesn't reflect how I feel about the LGBTQ community." 1. Christian Bale, Terminator Salvation. You all knew this one was coming. This famous rant was a confrontation between Bale and director of photography Shane Hurlbut, with the actor growing frustrated at Hurlbut's tendency to move around in the background of a scene. Plenty of F-bombs were dropped, threats of violence were made, memes were created. The former Batman expressed regret over his actions on numerous occasions throughout the movie's press tour in May of that year, saying, "I was out of order beyond belief. I acted like a punk. I make no excuses for it. It is inexcusable." And to be fair, it kind of was. And there you have it, folks, 10 actors who apologized for their behavior on major movies. Feel free to drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, and drop me a follow on Twitter at @YouSlyDogU. I'm Will for What Culture, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.